Ace Podcast.
Hey. What's the problem?
What?
With the car. What's the problem?
Just get out of my fucking face. Who are you?
We're still in the fucking car. What's it to you?
It's my car.
Now you gonna die.
Blood and Black Rum Podcast presents Death Wish 3. Hey guys, welcome to the Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Martin, again, here with another episode in the Death Wish series. And joined with me today is my co-host,
Ryan,
from the moonisadeadworld.net.
That's right.
And, as I said, today, continuing on our illustrious Death Wish series, and we're covering the third chapter out of 5. We're covering Death Wish 3.
This one without a subtitle yet.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
No, not yet. But it does switch out no more Roman numerals.
Yeah.
This one's regular.
We just got
American 3.
You know, we switched to Arabic numerals.
Yeah, that's right. No, none of those Roman numerals. No.
I think they should have kept that going. That would have been like more impactful, you know.
I'll say this.
Make the 3 like Roman numerals dripping in blood.
I'm a big fan of Roman numerals. I find that you're right. Like the regular number loses its impact sometimes, whereas a Roman numeral kind of looks more important. It's like, wow,
It's more eye-catching.
Yeah. It's like
Makes you think of the Super Bowl. Since when the Super Bowl last year with the 50th one, they switched over to regular Arabic numerals. It looks like that's just fucking
now they're LI again.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's LI now.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Because my team's not in the Super Bowl, so I don't give a shit.
I think actually last year with just the big L would have looked pretty cool.
Yeah, but no, because it's the 50th, so that's the one that we got to put the big 50. People are I don't know.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Roman numeral. I think that it lends like something of importance because of like its old fashioned styling. Like when you're thinking Roman numerals, you're thinking like kings and things
Epics.
Like epic stuff.
You're thinking like, hey, this could be the next
Shakespeare.
This could be the next Ben-Hur.
Yeah. And then when you get a regular 3, a number 3,
you're just like,
it's not as You're
just ordering something off of a fucking Burger King's menu.
That's right. Yeah, I'll take the number 3. Is that what Death Wish 3 is?
No, it is not.
No?
No. I as we've alluded to previously in the podcast, I would say Death Wish 3 is my second favorite in the Death Wish film by a long margin. And I said, I was telling people.
Is Death Wish 2 third? Because I haven't seen Death Wish 4 or 5 yet.
Well, as I said before,
really sure.
I don't remember Death Wish 4 and 5 that much, so I wouldn't be.
So right now,
it's like when we were doing the Saw marathon.
Yeah.
Where after 3, you were like, man, it's kind of anything goes with the memory. That's how with 4 and 5, it's the same thing. It's a total memory thing. I know I have seen them, and I've only seen them once or twice, and it's been so long. I can't be bothered. But I've seen Death Wish 1 and 2 and 3.
So right now, 2 is number 3 because you can't really remember 4 or 5.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I mean, I think that Death Wish 3 is much more fun than Death Wish 2. I will say that. I don't think either Death Wish 2 or 3 are what you would call good movies. But you're right when you say that Death Wish 3 is probably the better movie than Death Wish 2. I think Death Wish 2, in a lot of ways, copies Death Wish 1, and it doesn't really stand out. And it's also really not it's not as good as Death Wish 1 by far. It's kind of dumb.
It's
in
very
a lot
dumb.
of ways.
And very dumb.
And I think that Death Wish 3 is also dumb.
But
yeah,
at the same time, I'm not going to say probably what you'll say, it's so bad it's a good film. I think this film knows what it is. And it's tongue-in-cheek. It's like, because this is if you were to like write like pick a film that's like a by the numbers 80s over the top action film, Death Wish 3 is one of those. And I feel like it's so by the numbers, so ingrained in like that like time frame and like the cheesiness too. I almost feel like you can take this as like they're taking it tongue in cheek.
Boy, I don't know about
because I honestly don't think with some of the things that are going on in this that they're like, this is fucking great, this is witty, this is smart. I think they know what they're doing. And they know that it's going to be like that, and that's what they're going. I kind of think that's what
I'm hoping that's the case, because a lot of things that happen in this film, just they don't. If they were really going for realism, there's no possible way.
But again, like I said, it's the 80s. What film during the 80s was like going for like a more realistic like?
I mean, I think
especially in the action genre.
But like we were just thinking about RoboCop before we started. The podcast.
I mean that comes at 3 years later after this, and that's a legitimate satire.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I think films like I think there's a good number of films people would consider bad, but they're also in that so good, like so bad that they're good type of thing. I think people honestly making that film too know it's bad, and they're kind of going for it a little bit. I think
I don't know.
I think it's up to I think with films like this, it's literally up to interpretation. I think with like, for instance, one of the films most people say is so bad it's the most marvelous film. We've reviewed it before, Troll 2.
Yep.
I think in that film you could tell they're trying.
That one, yeah,
you can tell.
Absolutely tell. There's some effort there.
That like they're legitimately trying,
and it also helps that the director has come out and said and asked like, why do people think it's a bad film?
And he's very much against that.
Yeah,
and says that he thinks they're wrong. So in that case, you can tell like they're inexperienced people. They don't know what they're doing, and that they're legitimately giving it their best. Death Wish 3 at this point. It's not like Charles Bronson doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Or even Michael Winner, because this is now his third Death Wish film. I mean, it's not like this is a new director or anything.
So I think I'm not saying they were going into this like, let's make it so, so it's like tongue in cheek. But again, I think they knew what they were given to work with. And then just like, fuck it, Do you think at any point in this film Charles Bronson gave a damn?
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it.
So there you go. I think that's part of your answer right there. If your leading man is just like, whatever, it's a paycheck.
Yeah, but I mean, he could be doing that, and actually everybody else on the film is really trying for something serious.
Really?
I
don't think anyone else really is.
It's possible that Michael Winner's like, I want to make a third Death Wish, and Charles Bronson's like, what are you gonna pay me? And if
do you think it's Michael? Do you think it's Michael Winner, or do you think it's the studio?
It's probably the studio.
I'm assuming more it's a studio. Whoever owns the rights to this was like, and they're like, hey, you know who did the first two films? Michael Winner. And they're like, let's bring him aboard. And he's probably like, I got other shit I want. Fine.
You think at the time Michael Winner had other shit to do?
He could have, but he's probably too busy doing.
I don't think so. I don't think so. He just didn't have that much going on. But maybe, we can't say for sure.
Again, maybe I'm more than likely biased on this because I do enjoy this film. So maybe I'm trying to rationalize why.
I mean, I enjoy the film too. I don't know if I don't know if in all honesty it seems like this is meant to be tongue in cheek. I don't really get that feeling, but it is up to interpretation. I mean,
and at the same time too, when you think about it, when you get to like at third, not usually the third, but like fourth and beyond, isn't that where the tongue in cheek? Like again, you think of like Halloween, Friday the 13th. I mean, these are horror films, but I mean, like you think about like sequels for the most part. If they're coming like years later, and they're like down the road, and they've already done everything, then they do become self-parody. You have nothing. Like all you have to do is like look at Friday the 13th.
The other thing that you can think of though is that Michael Winner actually just stumbled into a successful thing with Death Wish. It could have gone off the rails, but it actually didn't in that film. Because Death Wish 2 is really a mess.
Yeah.
And that was also a Michael Winner film. And that one definitely does not feel tongue-in-cheek. It does seem like they meant everything to be super serious.
But at the same time, I don't think they cared. I think they tried, but at the same time, I think one of the main problems besides the fact that Death Wish 2 is a retread.
Yeah. I
think the other serious flaw with it, as we discussed in our previous episode, and I encourage everyone to listen to it, is that they just didn't give a damn. Because again, after the first Death Wish, is there really a reason to go back?
No.
And to do another film? No.
Not with what Death Wish 2 does, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason to go back to it if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah, there was no reason. Death Wish was a fine standalone film. A very fine, very well done, at least in my opinion, exploitive vigilante film.
Yeah.
It was fine on its own. You didn't need a sequel, but again, it's all about can you squeeze the dollar amount out of name recognition.
That very well may be what Death Wish 3 is. That this came 3 years after Death Wish 2. So again, it's not they weren't like back to back. Like a year later, as you may expect, if there was some sort of like outcry, like, yeah, we need another one. The box office was popping for Death Wish 2. Probably not. If they waited 3 years for Death Wish 3, probably not. So again, you have to wonder.
Probably had to have turned enough profit for them. Like,
yeah, you have to wonder what the motivating factor was. Was like, all right, Death Wish 3. Let's make it. I don't know.
I'm sure it's just
there was some money involved. So yeah, it's possible.
Because if you gotta think about it, if like the budget for these films is like $2 million, and they make $15 million, you done pretty damn well, and that would warrant more sequels.
Yeah. This budget was $9 million.
I'm pretty sure Death Wish 2 was like only like $2 or $3 million.
Could be.
And they made like 5 times the money back. I mean, if you think about it, like $15 million today is like laughable. That's like don't even fucking bother.
Yeah.
I mean, then yeah, that's probably again you more than
$2 million. You're right. Yep. Yeah. Death Wish 2 is $2 million. So I mean, it doesn't really matter whether Death Wish 3 is tongue-in-cheek or whether it's meant to be serious. Because either way, it's funny.
And it's here.
Yeah. Either way...
And it's not going anywhere.
Either way, I will admit I had a great time with it. I don't think it's a particularly good film. But again, it is one of those films that you can laugh at and enjoy as an action 80s film. Because it is very much an 80s film.
Yeah.
As...
Cars inexplicably just exploding for the sake of, they're just gonna explode,
Yeah. You gotta up the
body count.
You've gotta increase, like, the Magnum.
Well, he wasn't using a Magnum in the previous 2 films.
Yeah,
he's using a 38 and then just 9mm.
Yeah. And in this one, it's a 75.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, literally they picked a gun. It's like, because they explain like what a 44 Magnum is, and then what this is. It's like they literally picked that. It's like, well, Dirty Harry used a 44. Bronson's got to have something bigger.
Yeah,
because he's a bigger man than Eastwood. Which, by the way, wouldn't that be a great death battle? You ever see those videos like Death Battle, where they pit like 2 like different like fictional characters against each other to see who would win?
Dirty Harry or Paul Kersey.
Well, or you could just do Eastwood versus Bronson.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be tough for me to vote for. Because I love both of them. And I might pull for Bronson more.
It's hard to say. He's got the hair.
You know what? I lied. It's going to end in a draw. Lee Van Cleef's going to come from down. Lee Van Cleef's going to come down from the sky and kill them both.
Yeah.
Because that's a real man's man. Lee Van Cleef. getting a little off topic on that one. But
That's all right, because we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear a word from an associated podcast, part of our podcast network.
Ace Podcast?
That's right, Ace Podcast Network. We'll hear a little promo from them. You should definitely check them out. And we'll be back to talk about the beer that we're drinking for this episode. So stay with us.
Hey there, Timmy.
It's Bobby.
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Were you ever a child?
No.
Well, then do we have the podcast for you.
Wow, gee willikers.
Here at Turning Back the Pages podcast, we strive for excellence in children and young adult literature. We read and give in-depth reviews and overviews so that you know what's going on in the book and you know what we think.
Bark, bark, bark. Shh, calm down, Brian.
Who names their dog Brian?
I do.
That's just lame.
Oh, sorry, Brian.
Turning Back the Pages podcast has been rated by top scientists.
Yes, I am top scientist, and I agree with this statement wholeheartedly. Now, where's my check?
So, Timmy,
It's Bob.
I don't care. You should check us out.
Oh boy, where can we find you?
You can find us at the Ace Podcast Network, along with several other really fabulous podcasts.
Like what?
Go and have a look for yourself. And remember, Timmy, keep turning those pages.
I'm trying, but the pages are hurting my hands.
Thanks for sticking with us. Hopefully you check out Turning Back the Pages, part of our Ace Podcast Network.
yeah.
We really appreciate them sharing our promo, and we're happy to share theirs as well. So check them out. We're back to talk about some beer. Honestly, we've been drinking one style today.
For once, yeah.
I mean, we don't normally do that, but we had a whole growler of it, so we might as well finish it off.
Which means it's damn good.
That's right. This one you like a lot more than last week's. This is a growler that still came from Brown's. When we were at Brown's last week, we ate a delicious French dip sandwich.
Yeah, we did hint at it too, that after having the last one, that this one was probably going to be a better selection.
Yeah, this one is really good. I enjoyed it a lot. It's the Chasing Suns Double IPA from Brown's. And if you're familiar with the DIPA, you know that it's very hoppy. It's double hopped. That's what gives it its name.
It's higher in alcohol.
Oh yeah, this is about an 8.5%, I would say. I think it's around that. Not as high as last week's Old Ale from Brown's. That was a 10%. And that one you could absolutely taste the alcohol content and the raisin. And
which makes it mortifying.
Martin did not like it very much. I could drink it, I could palate it, but really I would never go for it again. That's not Brown's fault, to be honest with you. I don't want it to sound like Brown's fault, because that is an old ale.
And that's not something... No.
That was our ignorance in not knowing what an old ale was, and that it generally contained raisins in it.
I mean, to be fair, though, how many people are making a fucking old ale?
Not very many.
It's not...
It's not a common thing.
Yeah, so
I've never had one. You've had one now, so you know, like, probably stay away from
it. It's literally like a stronger winter warmer, which...
yeah.
Which I'm not the biggest fan, as we talked about before when we talked about winter warmers on here. Not the biggest fan because of its dried fruitiness.
Yeah, if a winter warmer has raisin in it. It doesn't always have to, but...
I'm sure most of the time it probably does.
So, I mean, that one was not probably our thing, but the Chasing Suns DIPA is. I mean, I like this one quite a bit. It is heavy on the alcohol. You can certainly taste an alcohol content to it. I feel it. Yeah, I definitely feel it. Yeah. We drained the growler. But this one is it's a hoppy, heady beer.
But it's crisp and refreshing. It is very hoppy, but at the same time, it's not overwhelming at all. It's very crisp, very refreshing.
Citrusy.
Citrusy.
It's almost spicy too.
Yeah,
a little bit of spice.
Yeah, you
to
get
it.
like the fruity hoppy notes, and then like a spicy hoppy note to it.
It's complex, really.
And again, refreshing. I enjoy.
It's not Brown's hoppiest beer, because they actually, you know what? I think it is. I think it is their hoppiest beer. I think that's what they list as their hoppiest beer because of its double hop nature. I don't think they do anything higher than that. I don't think they do, like a triple hopped beer or anything like that. They do have a trio hop beer, but that's just 3 hops. So this one is really good, and I would definitely recommend it.
If you like IPAs, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, if you're not into like the really hoppy, bitter beers, then this ain't gonna.
It's not gonna be for you at all.
No,
it's not. But if you are an IPA fan, this is a very good double IPA. As you said, no, it does have. I do enjoy the fact that it's got like the citrusy hoppy notes, but then a spicy, like a coriander.
Yeah, it does. It has like a heavy spice flavor to the end of it.
Yeah.
To
go
like
along
that.
with the alcohol, so it's it kind of like mitigates itself. I agree. It's very enjoyable. I like this a lot. I would totally get this again. It's a very good double IPA, and I do think that spiciness kind of differentiates it from.
Yeah, it's almost it's like peppery.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's good.
It is good.
You're not gonna really get that. Like a lot of double IPAs are very floral, very citrusy, very hoppy. So I think that like slight, peppery, like you said, pepperiness would be like probably the best, more than coriander. Very, very like it's very noticeable, but it's very good and like refreshing.
Yep.
To like it does pair very well with the hops that they use. So
yeah, it's not overwhelmingly hoppy. I do like that a lot. We haven't had anything else today at all.
No.
So
we're getting in that awkward period of beer seasonals.
Yeah. We're not quite into spring yet.
But they're because this was going to piss me off, because you know how I said I thought the Hopskade was like the new Sam Spring? It's not, because you know what I just saw out? Cold Snap.
Oh, do they have the Cold Snap?
So it's like, make up your fucking mind. What's the
we have
a winter longer than like midwinter, not like a late winter, and then we're gonna get like the Noble Pills probably for like spring. Why does winter get all of a sudden 10 different?
Well, the weird thing is that with Sam Adams specifically, like in the restaurants around here, at least
still have like Oktoberfest on that.
No, they have winter, but there's no like interchanging until
the
spring, where you're gonna get
Noble Pills or
Noble Pills,
Whitewater
maybe.
IPA. Well, they changed their spring. Spring one they changed so much. Like I don't know. I don't know what their spring seasonal is anymore. Is it Cold Snap? Is it the Hopskade? Is it
I'm going to guess
Pills?
that they're going to go with Cold Snap. I would think that probably if I were to go to a local restaurant they had Sam Adams on tap, they'd have the Cold Snap at this point. Or they're in the process of changing it out.
Just, I don't know. It's like shit like that. It just like annoys me.
No, I know. I mean,
we're literally not even through January. Spring seasonals. Right? That's not just them. It's not just them. But it's like a lot of people already got their spring seasonals out.
I will say that with Browns, when we were there, no spring.
Good.
There was no like
spring
specifically like
beer that was
springy. You know what I mean? It was more of like we're bringing back bourbon ales and
whiskey porters and espresso stouts.
Yeah, there was no like specific spring,
which is good.
Ale there,
which is good. I mean, their white IPA was coming out soon after, but I mean, that's like a good spring and that's a good intermediate beer for spring and winter.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I'm getting to the point where I'm going to want spring ales, but not yet. And that may be because we've had some warmer weather lately. Except for yesterday.
This has been like the shittiest winter I can remember in years. It's been nothing but freezing rain.
Yeah, it's
not even snow.
Yeah.
It's not even rain. We just constantly freezing rain.
Yeah.
Enjoy the drive.
Yeah. Sleet, freezing rain, stuff like that. It's weird. I mean, last year we didn't get anything, so to me, that's kind of a shitty winter because I do at least like snow.
I would take that over having to deal with freezing rain.
I like snow. I like it.
I mean, I don't mind snow at all either, but like I said, if you had to make me choose snow, freezing rain, sleet, I would choose the snow.
All right. That's it for the beer. I mean, we didn't have that much this week. We had the new Browns Chasing Suns Dippa. But other than that,
I've had nothing new.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we'll be going to the beer fest in Saratoga.
It'll be fun to cover most of the shit we've had.
A few weeks away.
Month away.
When is that? February
25th.
25th. Yeah, that's right. So it's about a month away. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the beer of the of that event is.
Last year as it goes, we're gonna see what rare style they decide to drum up. Like, hey, we're gonna.
I always really like to go to that event because I like to see people going nuts, like just drinking their which you get like a 4-ounce glass, going nuts drinking 4-ounce glasses like at the beginning of and you get 3 hours at the beginning of that, and it's like you are going to be vomiting up various beer flavors.
Not only that, outside of like whatever specialty style a place has, is usually an IPA. So it's like good luck just pounding for like 3 hours worth of IPAs.
We've learned from experience, you take that shit slow. There is no need to rush through it because that is going to be a painful experience at the end if you're rushing through.
Especially if you want to eat Red Robin afterwards. Yeah,
there's no reason to rush through. You have 3 hours to just sip and partake. No need to rush because that's horrible. We've done that before. The first year we did. We kind of went all out.
We started off with Dogfish 90-minute IPA. And that was like
bad ideas.
What a terrible choice.
Yeah,
and because that's what it was made. Like we said, the first year we went was mainly stouts and IPA. So it's like you can try our stout or you can try our IPA. It's like, ooh, wow, what if
yeah.
It's gonna be a long day. You had a lot of work ahead.
Yep.
But I can't wait. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It will be. Trying some new stuff.
I'm gonna try to find me some pickled garlic.
There you go.
I haven't gotten it since the first year we went.
I love pickled garlic.
That was great.
I love green olives with garlic in the middle.
That's awful.
You don't like olives, so.
Well, olives are disgusting. They taste like hell.
No.
Yeah.
You haven't had olives with garlic in the middle.
No, because as much as I love garlic, I could eat raw garlic. No, olives are disgusting. Green, black, doesn't matter. Disgusting. Get them away.
No. Wrong.
They're devils. What?
Wrong.
I saw people I saw someone at work the other day, like, they brought in pizza from home and it had olives on it. I'm like, why? Why would you ruin good pizza with your fucking olives? Or I get buy a DiGiorno pizza from, like a Supreme.
If you get a Supreme, it's going to have olives on it.
Pick each single little bastard off. Like, no. Yeah.
If it has mushrooms, pick it off.
Well,
if it has olives,
you pick both off.
Leave it on.
No, you pick both off. Mushrooms and olives.
I gotta disagree. Olives are good.
No, they're bad.
Unless they taste like tin. Because they kind of taste like tin if you get them in a can. You're going to get...
I think that's like anything that comes in a can.
You get botulism.
Tin or aluminum. Like, these peas taste like fucking... Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a little off topic.
All right, let's talk about Death Wish 3. Let's get into it. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
It's a great movie. The end.
Yeah, right. If that was only the thing that we had to talk about. But there's a lot to talk about Death Wish 3, to be honest with you.
A lot to unbox.
That's right. Whereas Death Wish 1 and 2 really centers around Paul Kersey himself, things that happened to him, things that happened to his family, Death Wish 3 is really not so much about Paul Kersey in that he's not the main target. It's really
just the neighborhood.
New York City, Brooklyn, the neighborhood that he lives in, and the police force that he's technically vigilante working for. That's kind of interesting to me because it at least in this film, it attempts to differ from the previous films. Like there's no like Paul Kersey finds another wife. He has another kid. They're both raped and murdered again. Well, you know what I mean? It's not like
his love interest in this film is
murdered. Yes, but that happens after.
But
he's already embroiled, and that's kind of his fault.
I know, it is his fault. He even admits like that it's his own fault. But you can air quote around his love interest because it's the most wooden.
Yeah, that's
like no chemistry to be found romance in like cinema history.
We'll get to that later, I think, but like. I kind of do like Death Wish 3, at least because it tries to differentiate itself. I like that.
I find it funny that he, after 10 years, according to this film's plot line, he's back in New York.
Mm-hmm.
After he was told never to
don't come back.
Don't ever come back. If you do, you're going to need to be arrested. But apparently, because in the last film, the cop that told him that's dead. You just be like, I'm gonna come back and visit an old war buddy.
No mayors are around, like the mayor from the last time.
Or, police
gone.
commissioner.
Yep, they're all gone. So you can come back to New York
He's
City.
gonna come back to New York and visit
Doesn't
his buddy who so happens to live in a gang-ridden area of New York and then gets the shit beat out of him and killed.
Yeah.
And now he's gotta take vengeance for it.
I mean, I like, though, that, like in Death Wish 2, we had to spend a lot of the time in the opening of the film waiting for Paul Kersey to be like, this is my calling. I need to, like, strike back at these fucking Utes. In Death Wish 3, there's no, like you mentioned, there's none of that. He's already carrying his weapon. He's already ready. Like,
he's already ready to kick some ass.
He's ready. He doesn't need.
He's like, I don't do that anymore. It's like, no, bullshit. On your drive to New York, you probably killed like three Utes in like fucking Jersey City because they like looked at you wrong. Like, he pumped my gas and he pumped. I asked for $20 in my gas tank. He pumped 20.05, so he shot him for being a greedy bastard. Goddamn Utes can't listen.
With Death Wish 3, you can absolutely see that there's some political views in here. That some. Again, we have that idea that police can't really do anything. There's no way that unless they have explicit evidence that somebody did a crime, there's nothing you can do about it. Which when we see in this film, that is absolutely not true. The police are not doing shit. We know that. But here there's a message here that because the police are kind of helpless, we need other people, sometimes regular civilians, to keep the peace.
Well, not only that, when they're doing like the first police briefing, they're saying like, the chief's like, God damn it, I want results. What's going on? And the captain talks. I'm like, well, we increased our patrols in the area by 15% and put this many more men on the ground. And he's like, so what's the results? And like 11% increase in crime. So it's like obviously you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And not only that, it was right before that the police chief was holding Kersey with no charges, wouldn't let him talk to a lawyer, violating his constitutional rights. And when Kersey points out, like, you're violating my constitutional rights, like, fuck you, I can do whatever I want. So if you know this jackass is the gang leader, just hold him, against his will. Then if you're doing that to Kersey, then you might as well do it to him until someone shows up and like, hey, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And then you try to gather evidence to prove otherwise. If you're already gonna break the you just be like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, that's a big problem with Death Wish 3 is that it doesn't really have any It has no logic to what it's doing.
But at the same time, it's understandable because that's what people who see these films, that's what they want to see.
Yeah,
they want to see the cop because that's what people all you have to do is like look at Facebook today, and like when people somebody does something like kind of like bad, but it's not worth like anything like a severe punishment over with. What are people saying online? Fucking kill him, hang him high, He stole that stereo. Hang him high. He's a lazy son of a bitch. Hang him. I got the rope ride. It's like, no, that's not how American justice works. No, do it. So if you have like the cops saying, like, I'm holding you against your will because you're a scumbag, people be like, hell yeah, you do that. That's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, like Death Wish 3 has that sort of like vigilante justice where if the cops aren't doing what you want, the government isn't doing what you want, you set out and do it yourself. And it kind of promotes that message.
It's not even that. It's state-sponsored in this one.
Exactly.
You literally have the chief, after he takes Kersey in, telling him, because Kersey at this point is going by a different name.
Yeah.
So he can be, incognito.
Kimball, I think is his name. Kimball.
Is that he's going by. The cop already knows who he is because he was on the force when he was originally.
And plus, it was national coverage in Death Wish.
Yeah, which I find funny. They're like, oh yeah, I was in New York when that happened. It's like, you didn't have to be in New York to know about it. People, Time, News, every fucking magazine, publication that was covering vigilantism in New York.
Yeah.
You don't have to be from New York to know about it. Everybody would have known about it because it's fucking national news that some guy was just killing muggers in New York.
Yep.
So, So no, the fact he's like, oh, I was a New York cop when that happened, so I know who you are, and I know that we let you go, so I know who you are. But yeah, I agree with you. These people are scumbags. I can't do anything about it because I'm a cop. But it's like at the same time, it's like you're holding him against his will, though. He didn't do anything.
And they have like 70 different guys in cells that they're holding against their will. They just can't afford a lawyer to let them out.
They're waiting for a public defender to show up. And that's the same thing that happens to Kersey in this. But when he tells them, like, I want a lawyer, they're like, yeah, well, you ain't getting one.
Yeah.
And when he's getting interrogated, the cops are just sitting around. They got him literally tied up, and they fucking like smacking and berating him. Like, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason that in this case, the main guy that's terrorizing Brooklyn, in part of a gang, who has been doing things, but they can't prove anything about him. His name is Fraker. They can't prove anything that he's been doing, but at the same time, like if they can hold Kersey, who really only stumbled upon a murder, he didn't do literally anything else. If they can hold him, they can take in Fraker for like a mundane reason.
I love the fact too that they arrest him. He's holding because Paul pulled out his gun then, and when he's getting arrested, like, he killed the guy. When you can clearly tell the man was beaten to death, not shot. Like, he killed him, when he's got his gun. It's like, oh, good police work there. Yeah, just tackle the guy and, throw him in jail. I'm like, open and shut case, Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the message here is pretty clear. It's a very Republican sort of harsh stance on criminalism. That everybody that is doing crimes, they're stealing from people. Basically, stealing is equated to murder here.
Yeah.
It's a death penalty sentence. But anyway, anybody who's doing that, stealing, raping, murdering, they all deserve what they get. And what they get is death. And they deserve that. Like, that is okay. But not only is it okay, Death Wish 3 says it's okay for anybody to enact that if they think that it's fit for the crime. So if you see somebody that robs somebody else, it's okay if you murder them. It's okay if you shoot them because they deserve that. And there's an obvious political stance here,
which I find funny too when you think about, because I think we brought up last time how the author of the original book for Death Wish was appalled.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be anti-vigilantism.
Right.
And the first film isn't directly saying it, but it does support vigilantism. And
in a way, it's not like super explicit.
It's not super explicit because, again, at the end of the day, they let him go not because of they think it's right, but it's because public opinion, and
and actual crime is down. So if they were to arrest him for actually doing that, they would in fact probably increase crime because people would know, okay, he was arrested because he was a vigilante, so we're free to go out and do whatever we want now.
But so it's a little bit murkier, but at the same time, the book was a very anti-vigilante state, but the film kind of comes across as supporting. It does come across as supporting vigilantism, which the author hated so much he had to write a sequel to it to kind of address that. But at the same time, the movie makers, and Bronson himself says, I don't think the first film's, it's against vigilantism. But then the sequels, it's clear. It's clear it's a stance for vigilantism, because if it wasn't, then there wouldn't be sequels. There would be no need for sequels. So
there's no way that Death Wish 3 can be considered an anti-vigilante film. There's just absolutely not, because the finale of this film involves regular citizens taking out their guns, which they have hidden away from the police, because we know the police have been tracking down illegal guns, and they're shooting anybody that comes on their property. It's totally a pro-vigilante thing. If the cops aren't doing something for you, you take your own life into your own hands and you deal with it. There's no way you can misconstrue this one. like, I don't even know. Death Wish 2.
No, you can't misconstrue because
You
it's
can't
very,
really
no.
misconstrue that.
No,
either.
because again, at the same time, it's literally the same exact. Excuse me, same exact thing happens to him. Basically, his daughter's kidnapped, raped, kills herself by a goddamn couple of thugs and Utes.
That one is still less explicit than 3, though.
But no, you're right, because that one's a revenge story. You can just say he's a fucking crazy, at that point, a crazy man on a revenge story. Because in the first one, he doesn't go for revenge. It literally becomes just a vigilante story.
Yeah.
That's where the, interest and I think purpose of both films gets, kind of lost. The first film, I think does a good job of something like a vigilante vision, but at the same time, the second one doesn't come up close following that, because at that point, the second film, with the people he goes after, it's a revenge story.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, he's being like a vigilante on the lookout for me. No, he's just killing the people who did this to affect him.
Yeah.
The third one, it's the same thing. It's a gang within this part of Brooklyn who runs this neighborhood and kill. Because the whole point is he comes back to New York to visit an old war buddy. And when he goes to visit this old war buddy, just because he happens to be friends with poor old Charles Bronson, the gang breaks in, beats the living shit out of him, and kills him.
Yep.
And runs off. And Bronson obviously shows up there and sees his friends dead. And now he's got to go after these sons of bitches.
Yeah. And not only does he just see that, but he sees like pretty much every crime that occurs
within the neighborhood. Yeah, within the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not only involving Paul Kersey at this point, but he's also teaching other people how to fight back. It's almost like here's a person who has gone from like vigilante to educator. Like, you can be one too.
And not only that, like I was telling you and watching this film, this is John Hughes saw this film, took notes.
Yeah.
To write Home Alone.
This is a more violent Home Alone.
As like, hey, someone keeps breaking in through your goddamn window, even though it's 90 degrees out, and you say you don't open your windows because it's 90 degrees out, but you're still wearing a tuxedo. Here's how you like put a board down and put it like a nail at the end of it. So when a guy tries to break in, it hits the switch and the lever and hits him in the face and knocks his teeth out.
Yeah.
No, see, Home Alone. We're like, hey, this guy, I saw like he left footprints. I'm gonna leave, wooden board underneath the window with some nails on it. So he steps on it, he's gonna fucking step on him and get tetanus. I
mean, it's pretty interesting with Death Wish 3, because I will say, this goes against pretty much all of my beliefs and my political stances. But it's still a fucking fun film. It's still fun. I think part of that is because of the giddiness with which this all occurs. There's almost, even though people die, even though there's a rape scene, even though there's lots
wouldn't be Death Wish without a rape scene.
Exactly. It wouldn't be Death Wish without one.
Which, by the way, the rape scene in this film is literally tacked on for the sake of, like, we need a rape scene.
Yeah.
It's not like the first two films, or at least it kind of serves some semblance of a plot. This one is literally just,
it happens, and because it needs to. Yeah. It's a Death Wish film. But, even with all of that, this is a goofy film. And it doesn't really take any of that seriously.
Well, that's where I say it's kind of tongue in cheek, because it's not serious.
I don't know though, because like I don't agree with that in like the rape scene, because it does seem like it's supposed to be somewhat serious.
Well, yeah,
not tongue in cheek.
Well, how can you do a rape scene and not make it tongue in cheek? I mean, make it tongue in cheek.
I mean, this film isn't really good at it. I won't say that like Death Wish 2 or 3 are good at making a rape scene feel like you're supposed to feel bad about it. It's more, yeah, it's not really uncomfortable in Death Wish 3. I mean, it's uncomfortable for me because I feel like it's not uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like that sort of like this should be an uncomfortable scenario, but Death Wish 3 is kind of making light of it like it's not. It's weird. It's a weird feeling, but I mean, I don't know. It just seems like there's not a stakes in this film so much as like we just need to get Paul Kersey into the mood to kill people. Like, we need to give him motivation to like kill multiple people in this. There's like
he doesn't need at this point. He doesn't need motivation. He just does it.
There's an obviously
just reflex.
There's a high body count in this. A lot of car explosions. I counted at least 7. It's all very much like exaggerated to the point where we're even past Death Wish 2 levels of like things happening and they're unrealistic. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the political stance that this film takes.
You don't have to, though.
You don't have to. That's what I was going to say next.
I don't.
I don't agree with it, but I think you can have fun with it. I think for people who do have fun with it, they're not agreeing with it. But they're thinking like this is so ridiculous
even
that
if you agree with it, even if you agree with the stance that vigilantism is all right, you're not going to watch this film and be like, yeah, you know.
I don't know though. I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment.
No, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt on that one. I don't think anyone watching a film like this would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, yeah.
You don't think that they're like in that final scene where basically literally everything in New York City is blowing up and people that are living in those apartments that have been oppressed for so long are now fighting back with baseball bats and shotguns. You don't think that there's people cheering at home saying, yeah, get that fucker?
No, I think there are, but at the same time, I think it's such a ridiculous... It's portrayed in such a ridiculous way.
Right,
and done so ridiculously, you can, even if you agree with the stance, you're going to be like, yeah, it's a ridiculous way to portray it, but, yeah, you know, and I find it to be fun, but, yeah, I think you should defend yourself. Nobody's thinking fucking robber breaks into your house, they're tiptoeing around, I'm going to beat him with a baseball bat.
I don't know, man.
I mean, and maybe in their daydreams they're thinking like that, but when it actually happens, they're not like, I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt on that one.
So you think most of Death Wish 3 is really tongue-in-cheek, that they're just having fun with that scenario? Because I will give you that, too.
I will give it... It is hard for me to believe in any film where somebody gets shot and they literally, like, then jump and propel themselves off, like, a ledge or something to make me believe, like, somebody thought, like, oh yeah, that would happen.
That would be realistic.
That they're taking that seriously. They're like, that would look cool. Let's do that. Or like, that looks like fun. No, I literally don't believe it. Because when you see like James Bond films, when that kind of shit happens, when does that happen? It's in the fucking goofier Bond films that are meant to be kind of like tongue in cheek. When somebody gets shot and instead of like just like falling off a ladder, like literally jump like 30 feet off, like ah! It's the same thing with this one. Like, so like when it comes to like shit like that, it's like, yeah. And then as our opening intro, when his car is getting jacked,
they admit directly to him that they're stealing your car.
They're not even trying. They're like, oh, we're trying to fucking steal his car. And he's like, well, what's the problem? It's my car. I'm like, now you're gonna die. It's not. I don't believe that they sat down and thought in honesty and good earnestness that was a brilliant, smart thing. I have to believe, again, whether it's true or not, for my own sanity, I have to believe.
Well, do you think, though, that, like, those were exaggerated scenarios to show that, yes, in some situations, you need to take the law into your own hands?
Yeah.
I do. I mean,
I think it's trying to get a point across like that. Like, yeah, like, if your car is getting, like, jacked and then somebody pulls this... See, that I can agree with something like that. If your car's getting, you know, vandalized and robbed, and then somebody pulls a knife on you, then yeah, you kind of probably do have your legal rights to stop that.
Yeah, I think.
But at the same time, it's the way it's done and portrayed is so over the top. It's not like, at least in Death Wish 1, even though the criminals in Death Wish 1 are very kind of smarmy and, you know, over the top, the whole way everything that happens around it is portrayed is grounded enough in reality where it is believable.
Yeah.
You can believe Jeff Goldblum beating Paul Kersey's wife saying he hates fucking rich cunts. Comes across as kind of corny, but you can believe in the moment of him saying that. that a poor youth who's, feels like he's surrounded by rich people and he can't, he's poor and he can't escape that, he would hold some kind of anger for these hard-working people,
True.
who could buy $2.50 in groceries.
True. All right, so I think we've talked enough about the political stance of Death Wish 3. What's your favorite scene from this film? Because there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There's a lot of funny and action-packed moments.
I'd say the end.
The ending where there's basically like
the war.
10
it's
to
a war.
15 minutes of
It's a war.
Yeah.
It's a war.
I mean, it looks like Detroit.
As we said, it's hard to believe that this film actually was filmed in Brooklyn. The film literally looks like it was shot in either Detroit or Chicago.
Yeah, it's really...
It doesn't look like it was filmed anywhere in New York City.
No. I mean, there's a lot of burnt out husks. There's a lot of like apartment buildings that really look really shitty. And I mean, this was filmed in 1985. So we weren't born then. We don't have any inclination of what New York City was, but when I was watching it, I didn't really feel like this was
It's
New
not
York
that
at all.
you have to just by looking at the area that it was shot in, it doesn't look like it was New York City.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't look like any part of Brooklyn I've ever been into.
Not really, no. I mean, it's surprising to see that a lot of those scenes were filmed in Brooklyn. Some of them were filmed in London, but most of them were filmed in New York City, and I was frankly surprised by that. But you're right, that final scene, it's like 15 minutes of great synth and guitar work, for one thing.
By Jimmy Page again.
By Jimmy Page. But more than that, with any sort of like action scenes with Charles Bronson and the police chief from New York City and all of that stuff, it really makes for an exciting and funny final conclusion to this film.
Because it's the most over the top idea of vigilantism. Like, shit's not getting done. I'm gonna grab my friend's Browning automatic, machine gun and fucking just run around the neighborhood and gun like 60 hoodlums down.
Yeah,
and not only that, the fact that he's running around with it. Well, again, it's what he's using is a Browning 30 cal machine gun. Meant to be used on a bipod. He's running around with it in his fucking hands. Not only that, he's shooting it and holding it by the barrel with his one hand. Like, your hand, as you said, would be melted. You'd be burned. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's just it's great watching him. Like, dude, because again, that's like something like people who make action films wouldn't think about. Something that you wouldn't think about. It's just like, oh, that would look cool. Look cool if Arnold's running around, doing that. Look cool if Bronson's doing that. But at the same time, yeah, it does look cool as he's grimacing, making his face, probably because he's burning his hand. Bronson's literally, every time he shoots, he looks like he's taking a shit. He's grimacing so hard. But just the fact that, that he's doing it, it's like, oh my, it's like, you're literally taking a simplistic, simple, down-to-earth idea that the first film was and how it was portrayed, and you're literally blowing it up. Yeah. You've literally just hit the dynamite on, and you've taken it to the stratosphere where it never needed to go, but you're doing it because, goddamn, it's the mid-'80s, and this is what you do in the mid-'80s.
Yeah, this is a completely ridiculous conclusion to this film. That all of a sudden, the entire neighborhood is blowing up.
Getting firebombed.
Yeah.
Firebombed. Like, the youths are running around on their motorcycles, throwing Molotov cocktails and firebombs, and just blowing up buildings, and it takes the NYPD forever to show up. Not only when they do show up, it's just regular patrolmen. Where's their SWAT team showing up? Why is their SWAT team deciding not to show up to, with riot gear and stuff because again, at this point, it would be considered a riot.
It's a riot. Yeah, absolutely. And the weird thing about this is that, this was a group of people who really had avoided any sort of police presence because of their careful nature. They did violent things and they stole things and shit, but the police had nothing on them because, in general, Fraker made sure that nothing could be linked back to them. So now, all of a sudden, because they're going after Paul Kersey, they're like throwing caution to the wind and just like
riding
out on motorcycles and blowing everything up that they possibly can. This is a really weird scenario.
Like nobody would step. I'm like, yeah, I saw that motherfucker throw
throw a grenade or a Molotov cocktail into a building. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense at this point because,
not only that, the whole idea of like muggers. This is literally like Fist of the North Star, like Mad Max style level of like rebels and Utes just take over and running rampant,
doing whatever they want to.
And because the neighborhood is nothing but poor old people, they're like, oh, we can't do anything, and they're waiting for either Mad Max or Kenshiro to show up to put an end to it. In this case, it's fucking Charles Bronson.
Yeah,
it's literally what it is. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, we went from like what you would consider like a possible scenario in New York City with a crime that was going on in the 70s there to just out of control Utes in Death Wish 2. Now it's a fucking whole clan of them.
Yeah, because
running roughshod, and everyone's just like,
You can kind of see where this is coming from. Because in 1985, you can kind of see where people would imagine in New York City, if this was allowed to run rampant,
it would never like...
No, but you can see where, they're coming from is that, like, if no one had made sure that this was a system that was checked on, that you had a community that would just finally throw any law out the window and just do whatever they wanted.
I know, but they would be again, like what's going on in this film. Yeah, it's not really vigilante. It would totally be justified if your places are getting firebombed. Yeah, you might have like the cops are like, yeah, I shot that guy. Why? He firebombed that building. Okay, yeah. And they're not gonna be like, well, we're gonna take you. They'd be like, yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't necessarily agree, but I think
it's so far on one side of the scale. Again, it's taking the grayness, like that. You can take grayness away from the first Death Wish film on that stance of vigilantism. It's this film more so than the last film was taking it so far in like one direction that there is no grayness.
No,
there is no. Well, what's right and what's wrong? This is literally like, cops suck, they don't do their job, even when
Yeah, because, with Death Wish 1, you can think, you don't necessarily need to come away from that film thinking Paul Kersey was right, that he needed to take those actions. There is a possibility that an interpretation of that film would be like, no, he shouldn't have done that. Even though things were getting bad, he shouldn't have done that. Whereas Death Wish 3... it leaves no room for the audience to say, like, no, Paul Kersey and anybody else living in that area shouldn't have done that. Because now you're siding with the bad guys, and you're not seeing a victim's perspective.
And not only that, they're so over the top.
Yeah.
And so cheesy, so corny. Again, their leader, Fraker, looks like he could have been a member of, like, the Road Warriors in wrestling. Because he's got the most ridiculous fucking haircut. He's got regular hair, but then down the middle shaved, and he's got his little markings. It's like, yeah, no, you're trying to look like Road Warrior Animal there with your hair. What are you trying to do there? Oh, it's no no thinking legitimate person who's not like some kind of fucking carny would do that. And that's what. So it's like, yeah, totally ridiculous. You can't take him seriously.
No. But at least the action scenes do look pretty good.
Yeah,
the explosions look good.
The buildings falling down. Yeah.
They have to. The buildings falling down look really realistic, and I think that's probably because they are.
No, I know they're not.
They're not.
They're definitely not models.
They're pretty much burnt out buildings already. So
they probably got paid by Brooklyn themselves. Like, hey, burn this block down.
Take it down. Yeah. Take it down. We're gonna take it down anyway. I think that they do a good job with that stuff. Yeah, and the gun work looks pretty good. Sometimes when you watch like one of the 80s films, the gun work looks really fake. You can tell, like when they're shooting it, like, yeah, that's like a really fake gun.
Prop, yeah.
This is not that.
Well, and at the same time it is, because there's a lot of times where there's one part where it's like there's two guys firing revolvers at him, and they fire like 20 shots off, and it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. There's always that.
That's that's just not this film. That's most action films where bullet count doesn't matter, but No, I do think the action in this film is enjoyable.
It's the highest body count by far for a Death Wish film.
By far.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact body count, but I know it's not even close.
I think it was like 39.
It was 49, but that was when we watched the bless you. When we watched the YouTube video on it, that was just Bronson's kills. I wasn't mentioning all the other kills too.
Right.
And there was probably about 15 more people that died in the film. That
like Bronson's love interest who manages to slam into a car.
She gets punched in the throat by the villain. It's such a great... Okay, that's such a great scene. The fact that he's going on a date, he's getting trailed by the villain. He knows he's being watched by the villain, that he's been causing... He's just in the scene before that question, like, should he go or not? Because he's been causing so much harm to the people there. So what's he do? He goes with his date. Goes out. They're going to go for fucking... Well, after they just got done fucking, they're going to go on a date. He's getting followed by the villain. And while they're on their way to a restaurant, I'm presuming diner if it's open late, what's he do? Oh, I gotta stop and check my mail at the fucking post office. What an unnecessary, unnecessary thing. So the villain shows up, rolls down the window, punches the chick in the throat, which knocks her out, releases the parking brakes, so the car, which was on the hill, starts rolling down, and then as she's groggy, waking up, rolls through an intersection, hits another car, the car crumples up, both of them, and then they both fucking explode. And she's dead. And fucking all Bronson can do is walk down and be like, oh no. And then he just walks away.
He walks away.
Doesn't get he's like numb to it now. Like, oh, yeah.
Yep, whatever.
You're my fifth girl. This happened to me in Kansas City, you know.
Yep.
Fuck the chick and then, she got punched in the throat and then her car exploded.
I love that.
It's
crazy.
It's fucking ridiculous. In that sense, it's totally great though. It's like, oh, yeah, you are awesome.
That's right. What do you think about Bronson's role in this film? Because like in Death Wish 2, you could tell he doesn't really care that much.
He's phoning it in?
Yeah.
He's phoning it in just as much here.
Pretty much.
He's very wooden. I mean, he's always been a wooden actor.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell he just, just listen to the intro. What are you doing? We're jacking this car. But that's my car.
There's no emotion there. No, in no scene really.
Not even emotion. It's no interest.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. It has none what to be found whatsoever. I don't think it's a detriment though, because at the same time,
he's not really supposed to. I mean, if you know what he's been through in the other Death Wish films,
you'd probably expect him to be nuts.
It's kind of it's kind of expected, like he has nothing left to give. So I mean, maybe that works for his character.
I'm not saying it works, but at the same time, I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's a detriment, just because it's like, it's just, like, that's like a thing, like I touch, like, oh, this is what it is. Like, you know what you're getting. If you know Charles Bronson, you know you're getting a wooden badass.
Yeah.
I mean, in that sense, I don't have an opinion either way, because like I said, it's not anything memorable, but at the same time, it's, I don't think his acting is something that you're like, oh, that would make you look at this film and say it's bad.
Yeah.
Everybody else in this film, over the top of shit. And it's great for it. Especially the police chief. He's great. Just being like the total stereotypical asshole cop who's like, when you ask, like, oh, I thought I had rights. You have no rights!
Yeah, apparently above the law, above the Constitution. Yeah. Doesn't really care.
And not only that, I do love, I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy that played Fraker.
Gavin O'Hurley.
He does a good job, I think, of being both maniacal and benign. Because at some points, he's very soft-spoken, but at the same time, it does come across as menacing, and at the same time, you see him being totally gleeful in his, ruthlessness.
Yeah.
So I love that, which is, but it's done in a way that is very, quintessential 80s cheese of being, over the top.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he works well, I think. I think he's actually pretty enjoyable. Because again, his little phone calls when he's calling Kersey to harass him, they're very soft-spoken. Very, very subtle, but at the same time, they're threatening.
I mean, I think it's disappointing that it comes down to such an easy thing as, Kersey using a rocket launcher against him.
It's great though.
I mean, it is.
It's fucking
but at the same, I think that's like too easy. There's no real suspenseful build or like a payoff of a climax between the two. It's more so like an easy out for Kersey. I don't know. It just seems too easy and less dangerous than really what it should be.
They just like, oh, there's the rocket launcher.
There's a rocket launcher. I'm shoot it at him and he's dead. He catches on fire.
I mean, I think it's fine just in the fact because that's like that's what I would expect out of a low rent 80s film.
True.
It's just like, and the face he makes before he gets shot with that thing. Oh my god, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
It's fucking great. Martin Balsam as Bennett, the old man next door, basically. Yeah. I think he's fine. He's not memorable, but I do think he's not anything offensive.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually think he's pretty decent as like a supporting character, just like as an old war guy who's just like, yeah, I knew your friend too, and
I mean, I absolutely have seen him in things, and he definitely was in a lot of older films. He was in Psycho,
Cape Fear.
He was in 12 Angry Men, Cape Fear.
Yep.
Was he him?
Yep. Well, the one.
Yep, Cape Fear. He's definitely recognizable. I've seen him in a lot of things before, but just not like enough to pick him out.
Well, I don't think he's probably got any big roles, but
yeah. But I think he does a good job. I think he's a likable character in this, which is really the main thing. Is that you want to root for those people who are being oppressed by the rest of the gangs, and I think he does that fine.
Yeah, the nice old Jewish couple.
They love the fact that Paul Kersey is setting up a trap that's going to put like a nail in somebody's head. They have a good laugh about that.
The man's wearing a tuxedo the entire time.
It's 90 degrees outside.
Kersey just shows up because he smells their stuffed cabbage. That smells. Who was like, stuffed cabbage?
Yeah. Who invites themselves into dinner? Like, I thought it smelled really good. I hope you're inviting me.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, what a nice man.
Yeah.
Just invite yourself to dinner.
Maybe
that's like more of like an old.
Was that a thing? Yeah, I mean, was that a thing? You show up, you compliment how good it smells, and they invite you in because you liked it. I don't know. Maybe that was the thing.
I mean, I feel like now if someone was like, if I like show up to us, like, hey, your dinner smells good, you'd be like, yeah, thanks. Well, but what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah,
you weren't invited.
Well, it's like that joke about company.
I did.
You used to have company, and you were like, "Oh, we got company." You turn off the TV. Make sure we
don't answer the phone.
Don't answer the phone. We got company, and now it's like, "Oh fuck, who's here?" God damn it!
Yeah, don't come to the door. While you're in your car, text from the driveway, like I'm here.
No, it's I mean, it's totally true. And maybe that was the thing in the 80s. I don't know.
Should ask our parents, like, hey, anyone just ever show up and be like, hey, I'd stop by. Yeah, come over. We were cooking some dinner.
Were you excited about that? Yeah.
Got the Entenmann's donuts. I love that bit. I feel bad for stealing that right now, but I can't remember the comedian's name. But that's a great bit.
Yeah.
Just because being a New Yorker, I can totally relate to the Entenmann's thing. Like, I got Entenmann's donuts.
You don't want to give them up just to anybody.
I know. No, you eat the shitty muffins.
Yeah.
You don't eat... Yeah, no.
That's funny.
Same thing would be like Freihoffers, too. Be like, you eat the shitty Keebler Elf cookies. You don't eat those Freihofer chocolate chips. Those for company. Which is totally true.
All right, so what would you give?
We didn't talk about the music.
We didn't talk about...
Not only that,
we didn't talk about it a little bit.
Not only that, we didn't even talk about the leading lady.
The leading lady? You're using that
loosely.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
To be fair, the film gives her second billing.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know, because she shouldn't have it.
Catherine is her name. She is a public defender,
played by Deborah Raffin.
Yeah.
I have no idea what else she's been in.
She's a public defender for Paul Kersey that he eventually kind of falls for.
For no reason.
Yeah.
And she falls, not that he falls for her. She falls for him for no reason.
True.
She shows up unannounced at his.
He really does not seem to give many shits about her.
No, well, I mean,
He'll sleep with her, sure.
I mean, at this point, he's had a wife that's been raped and murdered. His daughter's been raped and murdered. His girlfriend from the last film leaves him because she finds out he's a
Vigilante.
fucking killer. So I mean, yeah, no, there's. God, she is so boring.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's even worse than Bronson's wife in the
I'm
last
not really
film.
sure what they were going for with her. Were we supposed to find her interesting? Because she's
Did
not.
you need a love interest?
Yeah, he really didn't. There's no point to it.
Does her death mean anything to like justify his vigilante? No, you don't.
He's gonna do that stuff whether she dies or not.
He already was doing.
He
it.
obviously does not care that she died. He literally
literally
that scene where she blows up and he walks away is probably one of the funniest scenes in this film because he really does not seem to care.
No, it's just like
It's just like, wow, yep, that's what happens to every woman that's in my life. So I don't know, man. That scene alone is just really tone deaf. Because she blows up, he sees it, and he just walks away. There's not even a sad song.
Yeah, because he's like, shit, cops gotta come.
Yeah, there's no sad music. There's no nothing. It's just like, and there's not really even a mention of her later. Like I'm doing this for Catherine.
No, it's totally dropped after that.
Yeah,
totally
done.
Yeah,
Done.
Yeah. Who?
But she gets top billing.
After Bronson.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's totally unnecessary. And it's not well crafted. That's for sure.
It's great though.
Yeah,
it's just
it adds
the pantsuit she's wearing is great. The soft focus lens every time, like when they're like doing like a romantic scene, like they have literally normal focus and lens on Bronson goes to her soft focus, like oh yeah,
yep.
And they played like the sitcom like romance music in the background. Oh, it's so cheesy, it's great. Absolutely, it's awful. It's great. It's just like, oh Jesus Christ, like I don't understand who would have sat there and thought like, you know what? We can't just have a normal dialogue between these two. Soft focus lens.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like 60s Star Trek level? No. Soft focus lens. It's necessary. We need to make sure she looks like a beauty. But don't you have her in a fucking pantsuit? Soft focus lens. She's gonna be, she's gonna be beautiful. Bronson's gonna be head over heels for her. But you're not gonna know that because he's wooden.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that stuff, like, the soundtrack
it's fucking ridiculous.
Is really off the wall. We talked about it in Death Wish 2.
It's not as bad as Death Wish 2 in this one, I don't think.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, it definitely has a few different scenarios, like, different soundtracks for each kind of style, but...
The theme is nowhere near as good as Death Wish 2.
No.
Death Wish 2's theme's amazing.
It's kind of a free jazzy sort of improv
well,
style.
as I was telling you, it literally sounds like they could have hired Yuji Ono and the Lupinetic 5 from Japan, who's Yuji Ono, for those of you who don't know, has done the Lupin theme since 78 and constantly kind of retweaked it into something different each time. That's kind of his whole shtick, has been doing the music for Lupin, and it literally sounds like the theme for this movie was done by him. Like they took the Lupin theme and kind of changed it up a little bit. I mean, I still like it, but it's still nowhere near. I think that I do. It comes across like, especially in the opening, it comes across as more like quintessential like 80s cheese, like with the techno drums and just how it's all framed and everything. It's like, oh yeah. Whereas in like Death Wish 2, Jimmy Page does such a good job with that intro. You think like you could be in for a great film. You're not, but you could be.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty like badass.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. And there's a lot of different styles of this music. There's a lot of bongos. There's a lot of, like, wind chimes. It's
techno drums.
It is all over the place, but not in the same way that Death Wish 2 is, where, like, you have a different soundtrack for every single scene. In this film, at least it sticks to, three different kinds.
Yeah. You do get Jimmy Page back again on this one, doing So not writing it, but doing like the
guitar and synthesizer. Apparently, he does like the wow,
which they did bring back from Death Wish 2. That sting from like the horror scenes where you think like they stumble across John Carpenter. Like did John Carpenter sneak into the studio one day while they were doing the soundtrack? He's like, I got a really good synth idea. He's like, boom, 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 and then just ran out. I'm like, get out of here, Carpenter. We don't need your shit.
Yeah. I do love those synth drums, though. The very
techno drums.
Drums. It's great.
I feel like Phil Collins is like doing the in the air like drum roll at the end.
I love it.
But no, I do like the theme. It's not, like I said, not as good as Death Wish 2, but the soundtrack isn't all over. But again, like I said, I do love the fact they reused the Death Wish. Literally, it's not even like they re-recorded it. It's reused.
Yeah.
Just literally, just like plucked. It's great. It's absolutely great.
It's fun. It adds to the entire ensemble.
Yeah. The mythology.
That's right. Anything else you got?
No, I think that's about it.
I think that's about it. I think we covered everything.
No. Unlike the first two Death Wish films, there's no new big star to come out of this.
No.
Death Wish 1, we had the absolutely immaculate and impeccable and unbeatable Jeff Goldblum. And Death Wish 2, we had the great Lawrence Fishburne.
Yep.
The third. We don't have anyone like that in this film.
Not really, no. Nope. Nothing big. I mean, a lot of these probably went on to do more 80s action films. But, like, as a big star, no. Nothing like that.
Nobody that would go on to anything bigger and better.
No. So, out of 10 75 caliber bullets, what would you give Death Wish 3?
I'm glad that you actually used that. You want to know why?
Why?
7.5.
Oh, 7.5? That makes sense.
I'll give it a 7.5. Look, I understand. I agree with you. It's not a good movie, but I like it. This is a very enjoyable bad movie, and I think it's something to behold. And I love the fact that it is in that it's in that 80s genre of action cheesy. I mean, I'm not even like I said before in the podcast. I'm not even the biggest fan of cheesy films, but this is like done so in that right vein and tone for me that it works so well. I know it's not done. It's not a great film, but I have a great time watching it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun at the end to watch Charles Bronson running around with a fucking Browning and just mowing people down. Just unabashedly. It's great. It's absolutely great. And I think, unlike Death Wish 2, which is a very cheesy 80s film, not as much as like a cheesy 80s action film, but it's a cheesy 80s film, this is interesting. This has enough comedic moments, enough new direction and new ideas in it that it feels fresh. It feels like something that's new. Whereas Death Wish 2 is a total bad retread of the first film. They take everything from that was good in the first film and then just shit and ruin it. So I would say no. This is a 7.5 for me. I like this film a lot. Like I said, I agree with you. I don't think it's by that stretch it means it's a great film or even a well-made film. But I think what it does is enjoyable, and I think at that value I can appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. Like you said, it's very enjoyable in that it's funny. You have a lot of fun with it. I think it's more fun than Death Wish 2. I don't particularly remember what I gave Death Wish 2.
Yeah, 5.5.
Could be, but I mean, I think this is a lot more fun.
I think I gave Death Wish 2 a 6.5. Yeah, and that might be way too generous.
I mean, I think this is a lot more fun. You're gonna have more fun with it. From everything from the soundtrack to the action itself. There's a lot, like we said, a lot more body count to it. And you get, I had a lot of chuckles about it, and like, I think I may have to dock it some points because Paul Kersey says he's going out for ice cream and he buys
thank you for bringing
chocolate bar, chocolate ice cream bar instead of actual chocolate.
Yeah, that's not fucking ice cream. That's what's known as a novelty. You son of a bitch. Yeah. You know.
At least, like we mentioned, it's not a fudge sickle.
When he bought it at first, it looked like a fudge sickle. I'm like, that's like the worst thing in the world to buy. If you like. and I might anger some people on this. You like fudgesicles? You're dead. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
They're like those are like the most worst abominations ever created because they don't taste like fudge. They don't taste like chocolate.
No.
It's just ice that somebody put dirt into. It's just...
What he actually orders is like a chocolate covered vanilla ice cream bar, which is acceptable. I can accept that, but it's not ice cream. We can't call it. You're going out for ice cream.
No, you got a novelty bar.
Yeah.
And it's not even like it's a Klondike or anything.
No, it's just a regular.
And he grabs one for the kid that was there too, because when he punched the one guy earlier, he's like, "Awesome!" And so when the kid's at the store, he's like, "Here's an ice cream bar." Because he thought it was cool, and I punched that dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'd have to give it like a 7. I mean, I think it's a good movie. In that, it's a lot of fun to watch. Not particularly quality wise good. But I had a lot of fun with it. Definitely liked it a lot more than Death Wish 2. So it'll be interesting to see what Death Wish 4 and 5 have in store for us. If it's more of the same like Death Wish 3, where it's like a lot of fun, it's really cheesy, but it's still fun. I'll look forward to that if that's the case.
Nah, it could totally be like Saw like 5 and 6 and 7, where it's just like, yeah, it's just shit.
Yeah,
it's just shit happening.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to check it out because we're doing Death Wish 4 next week, which is actually Death Wish 4: The Crackdown.
Gotta add a subtitle.
That's
now.
The first one that we got a subtitle on. So I mean, I'm excited to see what that has in store for us. And unlike what you were feeling when we did Saw, I don't feel like I'm burnt out on this yet. I mean, I think that...
Well, to be fair, there's 7 films in Saw. And
that's true.
Only 5 in this.
I mean, I think that, I'm still open to where Death Wish could go from here. Because Death Wish 3 has revitalized me. There's some fun to be had in this. And I hope that it kind of goes that route. So, I guess we'll see. We'll see next week when we do Death Wish 4.
Yeah. Be interesting.
That's right.
Like I said, I haven't seen it in forever, so I can't be bothered to remember.
It'll be kind of new to you again.
Yeah, 4 and 5 are going to be new to me again. Like a coming to Jesus moment, coming to Bronson moment.
Thinking ahead, we are open to suggestions for films after we finish the Death Wish series because we don't have anything planned yet. Obviously, we have things that we could cover and we have ideas. But if you have anything that you want to see covered, let us know on our email, bloodandblackrunpodcast@gmail.com. We're absolutely open to suggestions. And we plan on doing a couple of one-off episodes before we get into any more series. Because we've done a lot of series recently, and we want to do some one-offs before doing anything more serious. So let us know what you want to hear covered. Also, you can catch us on iTunes. We're Blood and Black Rum Podcast on there. Just search for us. We really appreciate it if you leave us a nice review, subscribe to us. That way you can get all of our episodes. Make sure you are up to date with all of that. We're also on SoundCloud. That's where our episodes post first. That's where our RSS feed comes from. So find us on SoundCloud, Blood and Black Rum Podcast. Follow us on there. Repost us. We really appreciate that as well. We're on Facebook. Blood and Black Rum Podcast. Just search for us on the Facebook page and like us. You can have discussions with us on there. We also have a group on Facebook. So if you actually want to have discussions about specific movies or anything like that, it's probably best to post it in the group. We're on Twitter. It's @BloodandBlackRum. That way you can kind of tweet us. You can retweet some of our episodes that we put up there. We do promote a lot of our Ace Podcast Network partners, so definitely check out the Twitter account. We're on Patreon as well if you want to donate to us. That is monthly, so if any donations you put in, make sure that you realize that they're a monthly donation. So if you donate $1, it's going to be $1 a month. If you do that, though, we do have certain prize packages. $1 will just get you a mention on the podcast. $5 will get you an editing session where you can pick 5 films that we cover for the podcast. And $10 will actually get you a script reading of a film of your choice. So it's kind of fun. If you are interested in doing that, please donate to us on Patreon. Obviously, we don't have to have it. We are free. You can listen to us anytime. But if you want to donate, we really, really do appreciate it. And it helps us with the funds for the podcast because we put those out on our own. Other than that, we thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with a continuation of our Death Wish series with Death Wish 4 The Crackdown. And for me and Martin, we thank you for listening and hope you'll join us back for the next episode.
Take care.